right now.
Please.
And let me do a quick introduction. Folks, it's Wednesday the 27th, and as I told you, I have a very special guest today, all the way from the UK, monster musician, drummer, iconoclast to me, Mr. Charles Hayward. Charles, thank you for coming on.
Pleasure to meet you voice to voice, Dereck.
My God,
Face to face.
This is such a pleasure, Charles. I must tell you that, I'm not going to be too much of a fanboy, but it's in me because I discovered you way back, Quiet Son, okay, when it came out, because I just got to lay it out. I was big into the music of England since the Beatles. And when King Crimson happened and the Moody Blues and then Roxy music. So when I found out that Phil Manzanera had done this and they put it out, this was what I'd been looking for. Charles, you've been involved from it seems like you've been involved from the beginning of some really wonderful things musically.
I've been very lucky, yeah. I sort of decided I wanted to go down a particular path inside music, and I've pretty much managed to stay on it.
No doubt. Yeah. I watched a documentary and a couple interviews with you, and something you said about your childhood where you discovered improvising with lightning.
Yeah. Well, it was a thunderstorm.
Okay.
So I suppose I was talking about this the other day, and it was just like I had this vague intuition that maybe I made the lightning the top end of the piano and the actual thunder more down the bottom. It might have been something like that. But I was 8 years old and I played the piano in a response. I was like having a talk with the thunderstorm.
Awesome. Yeah. That's I take it that's kind of been inspired or influenced the way that you approach making music.
Well, the resonance of that moment didn't become so clear to me until quite a bit later. I mean, I started thinking about it maybe around the time of making the Quiet Sun record, or maybe about this Heat record. It was more like it was something that I did. I didn't really question myself doing it. And then I sort of thought, oh yeah, you did that thing, didn't you?
Wow. You're still really involved, I take it, that you're still doing a lot of playing and making music?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a gig on Friday. I've got my solo Zigzag and Swirl gig on Friday.
Awesome.
At the party for a guy called Phil Mackey. He goes to all the gigs.
Okay.
He's like an active pair of ears. He goes to all the gigs. You meet him when I go to other people's gigs, he's there. When I'm playing my gigs, he's there. He goes to all the gigs, and so I'm playing that. I'm playing using my Zigzag and Swirl, which is basically 3 different sets of electronics with no agreed starting point, so they always overlap in different ways.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
There's no click, so perceptually, what happens is I switch the things in and out in relation to the drums and the voice. So it appears to be like I'm playing against this very strange funk backing track. Sometimes that really pisses me off. In fact, but because each performance has got this weird thing where it's different from every other one.
Yes.
So what I'm searching for on Wednesday night, which will be the last night I rehearse it, I really want it not to go that well.
Well, we'll wish you luck on that one.
So that on the Friday, I've stored one up for it to be overlapping and sitting in an interesting way.
No doubt.
But it's got this. The outcome isn't always. I mean, it's never. I always get a good reaction, but the outcome is not predictable.
No doubt. I get the sense that, Charles, you are listening as much as you are playing when you make music.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to me to be the only way to really play.
Well, I agree. Of course, I play too, and I play with a lot of folks,
Yeah.
and I play with a lot of folks who don't listen. It really makes I can tell. I can tell. Charles, I want to tell you seriously that you have influenced and inspired me seriously through your
Well,
work.
well, thank you, Dereck, because I know that you're a kindred spirit insofar as you're not limited into one space. And
Yeah.
I think for me, that reflects what it is to be a human being. You know, the
Yes.
idea of being in a box and only organizing your work in one way, when in life you organize your life in multiple ways.
Always. Yes. Always. Always.
So, you know, that's the sort of intention for me, and I can see that's the same for you. I've been listening to your things, that gallery piece thing you did with the guitars. I like that very much indeed. I can't
Thank
remember
you.
the name of it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I was listening to
Soundtracks. Yeah. Thank you. That means so much to me, Charles. It just touches my heart. Are you self-taught on the drums?
no, not completely. I had a good solid jazz drummer teacher, a guy called Brian Emney,
Mhm.
who I went with. I had lessons from him for about 18 months.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then about 4 or 5 years later, I went and saw a guy called Max Abrams,
Okay.
who's at the time was world renowned for being, you know, probably one of the best drum teachers, or definitely one of the best European drum teachers.
Yes.
And the reason why I wanted to go was because I was mad about this drummer called Ed Thigpen, who
Yes,
played with.
absolutely.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fantastic, wonderful drummer. And
Yes.
I got the chance to talk to him very, very briefly. He was very, very charming. He was unbelievable. Every so often, people would give me this little push, like saying, "Keep going," you know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Mr. Thigpen definitely did that to me for a good few years, and he was like somebody I respected. And he told me that he was going to go and see Max Abrams, or Max
Mhm.
as he called him. I'm going to go and see Max because I've got this little thing going on, and Max is going to help me iron that out. And so
Awesome.
I thought, okay, so Max Abrams knows. I met Max Abrams. He wasn't a very nice. He didn't seem a very nice guy,
Okay.
and he was extremely expensive,
Mm.
and he insisted on 3-hour lessons.
Whoa.
So, and not only was he doing that, he would be teaching 2 other people on the floor below and the floor below that at the same time. And
That's crazy.
yeah. And I didn't really like it. So I only went there, I think, twice. So I got 6 hours off of Max Abrams.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I sort of ignored it and left it behind. And I got very into the European improv thing for a while. And I tried to sort of shed all sort of orthodox technique completely.
Yes.
And then when I was about 25, I suddenly wanted to play a good, clean, precise snare drum roll.
Yes.
And I just went back in my head 10 years and accessed Mr. Abrams' lessons.
There you go.
And it was like, oh, right, he was a good teacher. You know, he sort of. So both those teachers were very good teachers. But I was also playing along with all my records.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing I noticed, and I'm sure you've been told this by other musicians. Charles, you've got the funk. You know how to hit the pocket. And I love that. I noticed that right away with Quiet Son. But then when this heat, that just blew my head open. Charles, seriously, this
Thank
heat,
you.
it's like it was something new and ancient at the same time.
Thank you.
How in the hell did you guys come up with that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Charles and I have been playing together in a very open improvisation thing called Dolphin Logic.
Okay.
And meanwhile, while we were doing that, we were both in bands trying to sort of find some way to reconcile or at least the way I see it, is reconcile song with the edges of music, you know, with
Yeah.
an improv. And so just trying to find a place for those two things to coexist. And so for a while you're working in both arenas, but they're not really talking to each other very much.
Yes.
And so Charles would be in he was in a funk band, and he was in a sort of an R&B band, and I was in a sort of jazz thing, and we were floating backwards and forwards, and we were also basically working together. And then we met Gareth via I was in a band with Jeff Lee from Henry Cow.
Yes. Oh, Jeff Lay. Yes.
Yeah. And the guitarist left, and so I got Charles Bullen in. And this weird character in a smoking jacket came along, as suddenly he was our manager. And that was Gareth.
Okay.
And the first thing Gareth ever said to me was, "So what was it like working with Eno?" And I thought to myself, okay, so this geezer's not really a manager.
Yeah. He loves it. He loves the music.
Yeah. So anyway, then we'd find that we'd play gigs, and there'd be that bit after the sound check and before the gig, and Charles, me, and Gareth would be like this weird self-contained unit, and we'd go off and find somewhere to eat or whatever. We just like enjoyed each other's company. So then Quiet Sun came out to some sort of success, and we got approached by a guy who runs the London Jazz Festival now, a guy from Speak Out, and he wanted to make a Quiet Sun 2 with a band that I would put together with Bill McCormick and another guitar player and another keyboard player, because David Jarrett was now a maths wizard in, you know, universities and stuff. So that was the idea, and Phil Manzanera would play the first couple of gigs, and then after that he'd leave and we'd continue as a quartet. This was this guy's idea. So it was like, okay, maybe we can do that. And so we tried out, basically we tried Phil Miller from Matching Mole.
Great guitarist.
Yeah, lovely guitarist. And but I was obsessed with Charles Bullen at the time.
That's cool.
Yeah, he did these things with the swell pedal, which made it sound like this sort of distant tidal wave coming at you.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So I just like really wanted to work with him. So in the end, we ended up working with Charles, and then we couldn't find a fourth player, and I had a few songs, and we were going to make a demo, and then we needed a singer, and I was going to sing, but maybe what we really needed was someone who was more like a front man. So we asked Gareth. So Gareth came down, and there was an instant dislike, just a sort of like a dislike. They just didn't like each other, Bill and Gareth. And so it became Gareth, Charles, and me. And the guy who wanted to make Quiet Sun, you know, it's like, oh well, there's no way this is going to be Quiet Sun. No.
You've moved down the road from Quiet Sun.
Moved down the road from Quiet Sun, yeah. So that's how we started, and it started from two of us knowing a lot. I'd been playing for 12, 13 years, the drums. Maybe more, maybe a bit more actually, 14 years. And Charles had been playing almost as long. Yes. So there was the two of us who sort of knew a lot. You know, we knew all about weird time signatures, and we knew a lot about improv, and we knew a lot about There was a period when Charles and I used to listen to music like together all the time,
Yeah.
and we turn each other on to this different stuff. And
Yeah.
Charles turned me on to early Kool and the Gang.
They're fantastic.
Oh,
They can lay it down, my friend.
they lay it down, and they're not
Yeah.
ashamed of laying it down. They
Not at
embrace
all.
the laying down of it. And it's
Yes.
just like, so we used to really just, and Charles would get me into this early 70s sort of deep funk, you know,
Mhm.
sort of stuff where either the drummers keeping it really square and the bass players playing around it, or
Yeah.
the bass players keeping it really, and it's just
Right.
like this exchange between the two of them, this beautiful, beautiful thing. So we wanted to integrate that into our weirdness as well.
Yeah. It's
So,
there.
yeah, absolutely. I can hear
Yeah.
it even now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's grown for me. It's become like, I consider the funk to be almost a law of physics.
Tell me about it, brother. Testify. Testify. That's the reality, my friend. Yes, you got to have that. Yeah, you got to have the butt.
Yeah, and you'll find it in Greek music. You'll find
Yes.
you'll find it all over the place.
The whole world, yes.
Yes, the whole world's got the funk. When it's
Yes.
on it, it's got the funk, and
Yeah.
you'll find it in a very slow Irish air, and you'll find it all over the place.
Very true, Charles.
It's yeah, absolutely. So sometimes it even turns into almost a billowing as opposed to a, it's more like air or something. But
I
it's still got
understand.
this. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So anyway, Charles and I were listening to a load of different stuff, and then we met Gareth.
You banged your mic. I can't hear you.
Okay, have I banged it still? Is it okay?
There, now we are. There, you're back now.
So we would have, when Gareth came along, it turned into the ludicrous.
Sorry, but it went. Now let me hear you now. Are you there? There you are. There you are.
Yeah.
There you are. Okay.
Yeah. So getting into these competitions about trying to weird each other out.
Charles, I'm sorry, but it's gone again. Okay. Speak now.
Hello?
There you are. Okay. There you are. It's like when you started speaking, then it got muffled again.
Okay.
We're okay now. You're okay now.
Okay.
You're okay now. Okay.
So we'd get into these weird competitions of playing each other. It would be like bouncing backwards and forwards. Who could weird each other out more?
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Charles, can I ask you? Go ahead. Go ahead. Then I have a question.
No. That's it, really.
I love it, Charles. I wanted, since recent events, it occurred to me that these colors are the Ukrainian colors. Is there any connection?
None whatsoever.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
Yeah. A couple of people have pointed that out, but there's no connection. There was the photo on the cover, the little teeny weeny photo.
Yes.
Yes. The whole thing's modeled from that, really.
Okay.
So that's a jammed photograph in the camera.
Mhm.
The old sort of photograph.
Oh, I see now. Yes. Yeah, where it's off track.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the bar down the middle is in fact the frame between the two different photos.
I'm glad I asked. Now I know what it is.
Yeah. So, and the blue bit is in fact a reflection of a black windowsill.
Okay.
And the yellow bit is somebody's arm, but against the light, and so it just becomes this yellow thing.
It's very enigmatic.
Yeah, we took the proportions because the blue bit is larger than the yellow bit. So we took the proportions of that, and that explains the differences of how much yellow and how much blue there is on the side stripe.
Yeah. Okay. you nerds, freaking nerds.
There's this thing called the Duchamp. There's Marcel Duchamp made a thing called the Green Box.
Okay.
And as far as I can work out, it's based on a piece of string falling on the floor. And all the proportions from this then lead out into all sorts of different stuff.
Nice.
And I took, yeah, exactly. Very nice. And so sometimes we would build structures almost around those sort of ideas.
Fantastic. Charles, I noticed, I found this video online of you doing a snare drum roll for a half an hour. Can you tell me about that? That's like, that had to be kind of a transformational experience. I mean, that's a half hour.
Yeah. I've had a couple of weirdly hallucinogenic experiences playing that, where I've thought that there's a riot going on downstairs, or the audience have completely thought that there was like some sort of metal factory suddenly opened up on the other side of the back wall. Wow. Yeah. We get in the audience, and we all get into the pure soundness of it. The only thing I have that is different from them is that, apart from the fact that I'm playing it, is that I have a stopwatch. And the thing is very precisely 30 minutes.
Yes.
And part of the whole thing of the piece is the fact that it's exactly 30 minutes, and that the audience sort of leaves time, and there's these minutes. I can actually see it. I can look at the clock, and I can see these events that happen in the audience. Like at about 7 minutes, you'll get members of the audience looking at their watches. And then after about 12 minutes, you won't see that ever again until maybe once in a while, around 25 minutes or something like this. I find the piece, it's almost like the piece came to me. I didn't really.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's what an experience.
Yeah.
And Charles, it appears to me you have played with a wide variety of people. I mean, everyone from, it's like, I noticed you're on a Hot Chip album. I love the band Hot Chip.
Yeah.
And Everything But the Girl as well.
Yep.
And then, of course, the Pantheon. It's like, Charles, you have played seemingly with the best of the best. I mean, can you talk at all about some of the people that have it's really been wonderful to play with? I noticed you've done things with Chris Cutler, Fred Frith. I can't even think of all the names.
Right. Well, you just mentioned one. I mean, I've played with Chris a few times, but I've played with Fred in a more concentrated way a few times more than that. You know, I've worked on his music, and I've worked in improvisational context with him a few times, and he'll wow.
I imagine.
Yeah, just so wonderful to be around and with, and his ideas and his tunes and his musicianship.
Yeah.
The whole trip is just, and it's all one package.
Yes, no doubt.
And yet at the same time, it's over one side it's string quartets, and somewhere else it's completely improvised music, and it's totally wonderful. So he's great to play with. And I've played with Bill only in one context, Bill Laswell, only in one context with Fred. But that's always an education as well.
I'm sure.
Yeah. The hang with Bill, you know, the talking with Bill about before and after can be really, really fascinating.
No doubt.
Sort of, yeah. And of course, he's just been the crossroads, the nexus, for the linchpin for so much different stuff.
So much stuff.
I really dig the there's a record that I can only find online, actually. It's Dereck Bailey, Tony Williams, and Bill Laswell.
What?
Yeah, the first Arcana album.
Okay, no, I haven't heard that. I need to hear that.
You do need to hear it.
Yeah, I do.
It's like three master musicians trying to work out what the frig is going on. they're all coming from different scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can hear Tony negotiating Dereck Bailey, just like, it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah,
I'm going to look it up.
yeah.
You know, it's hard to go ahead. Go on,
no, please.
Well, Charles, it's hard to get your music these days. You work with mostly independent labels on your recent releases.
Yeah.
Okay, I notice you have something as recent. Do you have something out this year, or was it last year you put something out?
The last time I put something out, I think, was either last year or the year before.
Okay, that's what I noticed. I forget the names, but it's like I'm going to try to track that down as well.
Well, there was two things that year. There was a record called Hayward versus Harmageddon.
That's what I saw online. I'm going to try to get that.
Yeah. Harmageddon is Nathan Greywater and Faye Harmer.
Okay.
And they are they make this music, or they don't operate anymore. Faye's gone into a completely different thing. Okay. And Nathan has stopped working purely with electronics and is back playing instruments again.
Okay. Okay.
So in fact, Nathan and I meet pretty much once a week for 2 hours on a Thursday or Friday afternoon.
I kind of figured that you played all the time. Yeah, I kind of figured that you still play all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, the real thing I'm working on right now is a band called Abstract Concrete.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done any of my songs with other musicians since Camberwell Now.
Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, I have it.
Yeah, I'm very, very. I keep good faith with that record.
No doubt, but this one is good too, Charles. I happen to have this one.
I love that one as well. Thank you.
Your songwriting, it's like it's so non-rock and roll. It's almost kind of folk in a way.
Well, yeah. When I was a kid, those were the tunes that I used to really love. Yeah, I think that thing you said about sounding so now and yet so ageless.
Yes.
I think the the connection backwards is sort of not so much a connection backwards as a connection inwards.
Yes, inwards. I like that.
You know, it connects back to that part of ourselves that was less complicated, with less abstractions in life. And
yes.
So,
Charles, this has gone so quickly. We're almost out of time.
No.
Yeah, and I just wanted to thank you so much. I want to thank you so much when you sent this to me. That blew me away, Charles. And then also the fact that you accepted my friendship on Facebook, and it's like I could tell you we're similar. We're brothers.
Yeah, I feel like that actually, Dereck. Yeah. I would treasure the chance for us to actually meet. You know,
that would be awesome.
Shake hands and all that stuff,
and play some music.
And play some music. Man.
Yeah, that would be
great.
Have you ever been to Nebraska? That's where I live, Nebraska.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, no, I've not been to Nebraska. A good friend of mine, Viv Corringham, she at one point lived in Nebraska.
Wow. Okay.
Was Dylan not born in Nebraska?
Up in Minnesota.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Charles, before this thing runs out of time, thank you so very much for joining me.
I look forward to you hearing Abstract Concrete sometime soon.
I do, and I'll be in touch with you online, okay?
Yeah. Take care, Dereck.
You too, Charles. Talk to you in a minute.
God bless. Bye-bye.